Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be installing DSM injectors in the Civic. Here's my box of injectors. I have blacktop DSM injectors here. And we're going to be putting them in the Civic so that we can run our turbo kit. And these came with the pigtails. They also came with a resistor box because they are low impedance, and we're going to have to go ahead and install this resistor box into the Civic. This is a Honda resistor box. I don't have any of the pigtails or anything, so I'm going to be hardwiring it. So you get to see how that's done. I think we might end up having to take off the intake manifold again, but we're going to see. I'll let you know in a minute. Alright guys, unfortunately it looks like we are going to be pulling off that intake manifold again, and I'm going to go ahead and just kind of rip that out. If you want to see how exactly like everything that comes out and how it goes back together, just watch my other video where I actually put the intake manifold into the car. But for now, let's go ahead and get this taken care of. Alright guys, we got this thing out. Unfortunately my gasket got ruined. You can see it peeled right there, which sucks because I think this was pretty expensive. But I'm going to go ahead and order a new one, and then we'll continue on this tomorrow or a different day. Alright guys, it's the next day and I'm going to try to explain this as best as I can. So these are the two plugs right here. One of these is going to have injector wires going to it. I can't find which one, but I did find on another Civic that someone was doing this on. It ended up being the gray plug. So I'm thinking it's going to end up being this gray plug. This is kind of a pain to get off. What you have to do is you have to actually pull out on the tab and lift up. I was able to get this one off. I can't get this one off. I've used a screwdriver. I've tried absolutely everything. It will not come off this metal piece. I'd end up having to break it to get it off. I don't think this is the plug we need, so I'm going to leave that on. So what we want to figure out is which wires are for the injectors. So there's at least one wire that's feeding all of the injectors, feeding them power from the ECU. And there's 4 that are going to each injector. So what you want to do is you need a multimeter. I'm going to use a digital multimeter, and you want to, I believe, pin these yellow plugs. You want to stick one end in here and then one end in this connector and find out which ones are the injectors. So you do it for each connector here. So there should be 4 pins in here that match each injector. What needs to happen is the power wire, or if there's multiple that are feeding the injectors, the injector resistor box needs to go between the power wires and the 4 wires for the injectors. So here's the plug that was on the end there. You can see what it does is it connects all 7 of these wires together, and it connects all 7 of these wires together. I don't know what the other 7 do. 7 of them are for the injectors, 7 of them are for something else, and we don't want to interfere with this. So what I'm gonna end up doing is just cutting, because I'm hardwiring my box. If you had another plug in here, you could just twist these bottom 7 wires together and then run these top 3 to the red wire on your injector resistor box, and then these 4 to the individual wires on your resistor box. But what I'm going to do instead, because I'm hardwiring it, is I'm going to leave this plug in the end to leave all those connections together, and then I'm just going to cut each of the 4 injector wires. I'm going to twist the 4 together on this plug side and run them to the 1 wire on the resistor box. It's the solid color. And then the last 4 individual wires are going to come from the resistor box and go straight into each injector. It's really kind of hard to explain, but you should be able to see when I'm done. Alright guys, so to give a little bit of an update, I cut all 4 injector wires from the back of the plug and I wired them all, I twisted them all together, wired them into this red wire, and then I have 4 individual black wires here going to the other side that goes into the harness, not the plug side. And what these do is we have these 4 black wires and this red wire are going to wire right into here to these 4 black wires and this red wire, so the colors match, and that's going to be your resistor box. Now, after all of this, I honestly don't know why I did all this, because I was thinking about it, and your injector plugs, I have to wire in pigtails anyway for the DSM injectors. Here's the wires. I could have just cut off each one of these, twisted all the yellow together, and ran them to that box, and then ran black wires to each one of the new pigtails, and then ran this to the other end, this brown wire right here, to the other end of the new pigtail, and it would have done exactly the same thing, and I wouldn't have had to take off my intake manifold. So that's something to keep in mind if you end up doing this in the future and you don't want to take your intake manifold off. You can wire that directly into the pigtails for the actual injectors. The only time this would be better, I think, would be if you plugged a plug into here and used the harness off of there. So that way you could unplug it and plug it back in, and you can switch between low impedance and high impedance, which I can't do anymore. Now I'm stuck using low impedance injectors, so just something to think about. Alright, it's the next day and I got it finally completed. As you can see, I got all these color matching wires connected, and then heat shrinked over top of it. And then if you come down here, you can see where the black wires are coming from beneath the plug and the red wire is coming from the plug. And this is now mounted again. What I'm going to do is just electrical tape all of these wires together all the way down, and then we're just going to go ahead and kind of swing it over here and run it underneath this and mount it down there. Alright, I ended up changing my plan because I couldn't get a screw in those threaded holes. So if you look here, there's the wiring. It's all zip tied, comes over here, runs up here, and then I have the box mounted right there. Ignore that wiring, that's my underglow. I had to pull it tight because it was hanging under the car. I'm going to rewire that eventually, but there's the box right there, out of sight. You can barely see it. It's mounted on the same bracket as the throttle cable right there. Pretty sneaky. Okay, so now that I have the box mounted, I went ahead and cleaned up the surfaces to mount the intake manifold back on. But first, I'm going to splice the pigtails in. So the way that they're going to go in is, I took a look at these. The way the injectors plug in is the yellow with the black stripe is on the right, and then the colored wire is on the left. And I'm going to plug these ones in the same way. These ones aren't colored, but I'm going to do the right side to the yellow wire with the black stripe and the left side to the colored wire. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut all of those pigtails off, leaving enough on them in case I wanted to put them back on. And then I'm going to go ahead and solder all of these on in their place. Alright guys, so this is all wired up now, ready to go. So we're gonna throw these all back here, like that. That way we can put the intake manifold on, but it's past my bedtime, so I'm gonna go in for the night. Alright boys, so now we're gonna go ahead and put the intake manifold back in. putting in the new injectors, what we have right here, the DSM injectors. And what you want to do is just put a little bit of oil around this seal right here, and then this little one up top, pop it into the fuel rail, and then bolt it down into the intake manifold. Okay, so this is all back together. You can see we have the new injectors in right here. And I'm gonna go ahead and I got the fuel rail bolted in. All the lines are hooked up here. We just need to plug in all of the electrical and put that bracket back underneath and plug the battery in, put this intake back over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right guys, it's all back together. So as you can see, literally everything is hooked up. Stupid bracket in the back was a pain in the butt again. But everything else is pretty simple on this, so that's going to be it. That's going to be it for the injectors video now that we got them installed. In the next video that I'm going to show you, the next video that I'm going to put up, I'm going to show you how to get your car to start and idle with new injectors that aren't stock, and then also how to kind of give yourself a little naturally aspirated tune using chrome. So, thank you for watching, and make sure that you like and subscribe. Peace out.